Greetings, I'm Barrett and welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today we're going to continue our playthrough of Kinfire Chronicles. We're going to be moving into Quest 2, Troubled Waters. In this particular quest, one of the things we're going to be doing a little bit that is we didn't do in the last one is we are going to begin our adventuring set. Inside of this particular box came with a rule book for how to adventure, and we're going to go through those mechanics as well. And on top of that, we were able to defeat a giant, huge wyvern, and because of that, we should have claimed this token from how I understand it, because as you claim these, you can eventually use these in maybe some crafting recipes, or you can sell them at some towns and things like this. Remember, we got the wings, the leather wings from this particular creature, so we're going to hold on to this. On top of that, in the last video, for defeating it, we were able to sell the thing to the travelers we were with for 6 gold or 6 iron or whatever this is, 6 money, I guess you could say. So I'm going to put that with our characters as well, so we do have 6 money as well. And we're going to move into Quest 2. I had a fantastic time playing through the first one. We'll see how this quest goes. And if you're excited to see Quest 2 in Kinfire Chronicles, then I need you to meet me at the table. There is a short thing here talking about what is going on as we move into Quest 2. And of course, this entire game can be picked up on Forteller. So I'm going to again use the narration for Forteller for this. I hope you enjoy it.
The fight with the wyvern took a lot out of you, but your journey is not nearly over. You and the caravan can only afford a short time to rest before you have to push onward. The only thing lying between you and Vinna now is the river.
Upon approaching the bridge, however, you find that something or someone has destroyed it. A man from the caravan peers over the edge, making a show of studying the collapsed bridge. He shakes his head.
Yep, won't be possible to get the caravan across without at least making a makeshift bridge. You seekers are gonna have to go secure some ropes to the other side.
You raise an eyebrow.
Us? Seekers?
He doesn't miss a beat.
Aye, whatever destroyed this bridge might still be lurking on the other side. You can't expect any of us to face whatever did that.
He inclines his head towards the rubble.
That's a job for you big, strong seekers.
Sighing, you start looking for a place to climb down to the riverbank.
Terrific.
We're going to refer to that Adventure Rulebook Quest 2 to learn the ins and outs of adventuring. Afterwards, we're going to go to Card 2-1. And what they're referring to is in that packet, there was this rulebook. Along with this deck of cards, a punch-out sheet, and also a few other components that we'll probably be seeing later. It says to start with 2-1, so we're going to flip over that particular card, and we're going to listen to Forteller and do what it says.
After tying off the ropes to this side of the bridge, you survey the rubble-strewn river ahead of you and prepare to cross.
At this point, every seeker must reach the middle of the river in order to move on. To do so, choose one of the 2 methods below best suited for your seeker. Then flip over the top card of your deck. If it matches the color of the shown next to your character method, you reach the middle. If not, I'm going to gain 1 exhaustion. And try again. Exhausted cards are absolutely terrible. Here they are right here. It says no matter how great the hero spirit, the body has limits. You can feel yourself starting to reach yours. When you discard your hand, I'm going to suffer 1 damage for each exhausted card in my discard. You may ignore this effect if you discard this card at any other time. Lingering status will remove this card from your deck when you rest at an inn. So this is going to stay with me, and whenever I discard my hand, I'm going to gain a damage if that one's discarded as well. Now there could be cards, for example, remember our characters do have some cards that allow us to give other characters the ability to draw or discard a card, such as this one right here. Give another seeker the ability to draw or discard discard a card. If we decided to do that, we could discard that with that power, and I wouldn't have to deal with the exhausted condition because it's discarded a different way from actually discarding my hand. The methods we have to choose is we can either swim across the river, and we're going to use a red, and we'll be looking for red cards. That's, remember, more of a strength-based approach. Or we're going to jump across the rubble, which is more of an athletic, acrobatic, or a dexterity type concept in order to reach the other side. And then once all seekers reach the middle of the river, we are going to read card number 2-2. The first character we're going to choose to do the check with is going to be Nas. Now remember, we can either choose red or green. We can either swim or jump. What we're looking for is to figure out what is the most cards in the deck for this particular character. Nas has a lot of red cards, not a lot of green cards. So I'm going to choose to do a red check with her, and we're going to draw a card and see how it goes. Our first card is a red-green card, so I can choose it for either one of those. We're going to choose red, so Nas has made it without taking any of those exhaustion cards. We'll move over to Roland. We'll give Roland's deck a quick old truffle shuffle here so it's all set to go. And what we're going to do is we're probably going to be drawing red for him as well because we look at his distribution of colors. Mostly blue, but sadly I'm not looking for blue in this particular skill check. So I'm going to go with red because we do have more red than green. Let's see how we do. We did get a red card right off the bat. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So no exhaustion for him. Lastly, we have Asha. I'll give Asha's deck a good old truffle shuffle here. And Asha's going to go very green because if we look at her distribution, green is obviously her best attribute here as opposed to blue. So we'll draw our top card and see what it is. We got a red and blue card. That's not green. So I'm going to gain an exhaustion card. We'll put that right there for right now. We'll go green again. And this time we got a green and blue card, so we did make it. Now the cool thing is each of the decks of cards that we've got of the sleeves that we got for this game come with extra sleeves. So we have a bunch of extra sleeves, so we can actually sleeve these exhaustion cards as well and just stick them in there so we don't know when this particular card is going to come up. But we're going to put that in the discard pile for now, and we're going to keep the decks persistent as we continue until we get to combat, from how I understand it. And even then, they might continue to persist depending on how things go. We all managed to get by pretty good. We did get one exhausted card, but that's okay. I also want to mention that it's a little unclear at the end of this. I want to make sure you understand at the beginning of the quest, when you start the questing phase, you shuffle the deck, and the only time you'll ever shuffle it is if you're out of cards. And when you move into the next combat, you will reshuffle your deck and start with a fresh one moving into combat. We are going to go now to card 2.2 here and see what it says. Again, Forteller is going to take over.
You've made it halfway across the river and paused to catch your breath on a sturdy piece of debris. You notice a bit of flotsam caught between one of the bridge pillars and a nearby rock. It could be something useful.
At this point, we're going to choose a seeker to attempt to grab the flotsam. The seeker flips over the top 2 of cards of their deck. If either is a blue, the seeker frees the item and go to 2.3. Otherwise, the flotsam breaks free and is lost downstream. So we will go to 2.4. I think we know who is going to do this check. I think it's going to be the master of the blue. And that, of course, is our good friend Ronald. He has the most blue cards. So flip over 2 cards, and if either one of them is blue, we have found it. Otherwise, we haven't. Oh, we got super lucky. It's a red-blue card, so we are going to use it as a blue. We were able to catch the flotsam. That means we'll move over to card 2.3 and see what it says.
The flotsam turns out to be a black powder bomb. The fuse is blackened, but the bomb is undetonated. It's clear that several of these bombs were used to destroy the bridge, but this one must have fallen into the water, extinguishing its fuse and preventing it from going off. Who made it? Difficult to say, but the fuse has dried enough now that it might still be usable. You decide to hold on to it. It could come in handy if you encounter any more trouble along the way.
So that's pretty sweet. We're going to take memory 2-A. The seeker who grabbed the flotsam gains the black powder bomb card. This player may add it to their unused cards or discard pile. And we'll go to 2.4. Here's our 2.4 memory here, and it is I'm guessing a bomb. It says you discovered an explosive device while investigating the sabotage bridge on the way to Vina. Bombs can be useful things, especially against the sort of enemies that Seekers often find themselves up against. Procuring more of these would be in your best interest, but the authorities in Din Lux don't look kindly on the peddling of explosives. No reputable merchant would be caught selling them, but perhaps there are other more discreet suppliers. So we have this card. It says I could put it in my discard or other pile. I'm not going to really put it anywhere. I do have the option to add it to my unused cards, and I think I'm going to do that because it doesn't look like it's really actually going to do anything. Of course, that probably means I need it in this fight, and I'm not going to have it, but I'm going to put it in my unused cards. What the heck? We'll continue with our adventure and go to 2.5, I think is where we're going. No, discard pile and add it to there, and then go to 2.4. So we're going to go to 2.4 and see what it says. Here we are again. Looks like we're going to have another thing we're going to have to deal with.
Crossing this half of the river won't be so easy. The current here is strong and the pieces of debris are farther apart.
At this point, every seeker must reach the far side of the river in order to move on. To do so, choose one of the two methods below, then flip over the cards from your deck until you reveal two of the indicated color. For each card of another color you reveal, you must choose to either gain 1 exhaustion or suffer 1 wound. Oh my gosh, that's absolutely terrible. So we can either swim across the river or we can try to jump across the rubble, which means we have to either get 2 red or 2 green, and anything in between is going to be Bad News City. Nas has only pulled 1 card and it's only 1 red, so we're going to continue on trying to get red cards. A white card is any color, so that is a red and a red. Nas is doing fantastic. Looking at Roland, he has drawn 3 red cards, but that could also be a blue card. I don't remember which one that slot it's actually taking up, but we still have more red than green, I think, in this deck. So we're going to draw red cards, and we're going to have to draw 2, and for every one that is not one, we're going to have Bad News City happen. We did get a white card. That is a color of our choice. We have a blue card, so we can either take 1 damage or an exhaustion. I think we're going to take an exhaustion card for him for that one, and let's continue on. We have a green card. Oh no, do you want more exhaustion? That's going to do just damage to him. He only has 10 health. I don't know. We're going to take 1 damage. We'll take 1 damage and keep drawing here. So far we've drawn 1 red card. We'll keep going. Oh, blue card. I think I'll take 1 more exhaustion. Now remember, there are ways to discard these without discarding your hand. So that's what I'm actually banking on. And we'll continue on. Okay, we got another white card. Woofta! That'll be a red. We're done there. We got 2 exhaustion cards though, and we took 1 damage. That was not very good for Roland. We'll put these into the card sleeves for him so that we have them all set. We'll put them into our discard pile when we go into our battle. Lastly, we have Asha. Asha is going to go green. That's our best bet here. We have a white, so that is a green card. And we have another green one. Perfect. We're totally fine. We'll move on to card 2-5 and see what happens now.
You manage to climb up the riverbank and tie off the ropes. On the other side, some of the caravan appear to be reclining on the bank, enjoying your struggle. You build a quick fire and collapse on the ground while the workers begin constructing a temporary bridge. As soon as you relax, a shiver runs through your body. Something is watching you.
At this point, we have a conundrum to choose between. The way this works is we have to choose one of these 2 paths. Depending on which path we choose, we're going to gain Kinfire tokens here for the characters that have to do with the situation that we have chosen. So if we look at this particular card here, it shows that if we choose whatever it is, isn't immediately hostile, let's recover while we can, so we are ready to fight. We go to 2.6. And that means that Roland and, actually only Roland on our team will gain a Kinfire token. Where if we choose Roust Yourselves, we may be exhausted, but only a fool relaxes with possible enemies at their back. And at this point, two of our characters, which would be Asha and Naz, are going to gain Kinfire tokens. Now, what Kinfire tokens do is they are going to be tokens that are going to help decide what you can actually put in your deck. Once we start going up in our deck size, we're going to be checking to see if we have Kinfire tokens that are going to be able to, these are the Kinfire tokens, that are, for every Kinfire token we have, we're able to upgrade our deck. Right now, all of our cards do not have Kinfire symbols on them at all, but as we go forward, some of the cards that we get are going to have Kinfire associated with them in order to place them in our deck. So the more Kinfire you have, the more powerful cards you can put in your deck. I hope that makes sense. But for this particular example, of course, I'm going to go the way where I have two people instead of one. So we are going to go give two Kinfire, one to Naz and one to Asha. And we are going to go to card 2-7. Let's discard 2-6. We're not probably even going to see what that is because it was the other option. And we'll move to 2-7 and see what it says.
You pull yourselves from the lure of the fire and search the area, stepping through some nearby brush. You come upon a pair of stags. At first you're relieved, but then something's not quite right. These are unlike any deer you've ever seen, with empty white eyes and oozing pustules growing from their antlers and along the twitching muscles of their backs. Their bodies tense. They're ready to attack.
So it does look like a battle is coming. We're going to gain more fate tokens, and on top of that, we are going to discard the enemy chits numbered 2, 4, 8, and 10 from the bag into the spent chips area. These will return to the bag when it resets. So we did kind of get a jump on the monster, or at least we're more prepared for this battle because we didn't rest. Now, of course, we rested to probably be able to heal ourselves and things of that nature, but who knows, this might be a better approach. Next, open the atlas to map 2 and go to 2.9. Here is our new map we're going to be playing on. We have some fantastic mushrooms that I don't like to eat. Over here, here's our campfire that we were making. And then if you're going to notice, there are some new elements on this map that we didn't see on the other one. This, of course, down here says that the enemy or us, whichever is in this square, is going to gain +1 defense against any ranged attacks that come into these 4 particular spaces, because we're hiding kind of in the brush as we go. We do have a card here that shows us how to set up our battle. We're going to be fighting, looks like 2 enemies here, so we'll put those 2 enemies out and get those all set to go. But since I have the map in front of me, we'll place all of our things down ready to go. So we're going to put our 2 stags out there. This is the first one right here, the acrylic standee of the first one. It looks really kind of cool. We'll put them right there. That's where that one starts. And then the other one has a way different like antler system up here, and that one is going to start right there. We do get to put our 3 characters out onto the map. And I think we'll start with Asha. She's going to start right here. We'll put Naz up there. And then we'll put Roland. He can either start here or here. I think he's going to start down there. It does say on our card that if a Seeker is defeated, we'll go to 210. And if all the stags are reduced to 0 health, we will go to 211. Quickly looking at our enemies here, the first one we have is Patchy the Great Stag, 16 health on this creature, 3 different abilities, all triggering on white, so we can use any of our abilities cards' colors to be able to help with defense. This character has a tendency to have a lot of hurt going on here, apparently. Every attack seems to do some kind of amount of hurt. These also are going to trigger on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and do remember we took out the tokens 10, 8, 4, and 2 respectively and place them right above this character in the Chits spent pile because of our choices during the story. The other enemy here is the one-horned great stag. It has 18 health and does a completely different damage types here. This one has a big giant attack, and also this one is going to cause stun and trapped effects. It also has a cleansing effects down here that we're going to have to deal with. Also, if you look down here, it does focus on the most health, and the other stag as well, Patchy, that also focused on most health, so we're going to give these to Naz. We'll place those tokens up there and draw out 7 cards. We're going to get our heroes all set for battle here. We'll give Naz a good old truffle shuffle here, and we'll draw out 7 cards and hopefully get a good set of cards for us to start with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. We have 7 cards. We're going to see what cards we get. And remember, we have to have at least 1 action in order to be able to keep the hand. We have 1 action there and 2 actions, 3 actions. Sorry, we have 3 actions for Naz. Naz also is going to grab her 2 armor cards that she has as well. We'll draw Roland's hand next. We're going to give it a good old truffle shuffle again and see what cards we're able to pull out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for Roland. He has to have at least 1 action in his hand. He does have 1. 2, he has a few actions, so we are good. We'll put those right there. He gets himself 1 armor card. Lastly, we have Asha. Again, give him a good old truffle shuffle. Here we go. And we will draw out 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 cards. Hopefully one of them is an action. Yes, we do have at least 1 action, and we should be good to go. Yep, we got some pretty good cards in there, I think. We'll see how it goes. We'll place our 1 armor right there. With that complete, we'll take our bag of destiny here and draw out a chit and see what befalls our heroes here. Well, Roland is going to go first. That's awesome. We'll put that in the spent chit place and see what he can do. Roland has a lot of really cool things he's going to do. The first thing he is going to do is he is going to play out his ward, which is Leech Charm. It says, you close your eyes and murmur the dark words. You can already feel the magic sapping away your enemy's life bit by bit. While this card is in play, each time an enemy discards a status, they suffer 1 damage. I'm going to put that right there. That's his ward. It's in play. That's awesome. It is a free action, so I get to perform another action. I'm going to play this, which is my lucky beard comb. It allows me to give weak to up 2 weak cards to 1 enemy, and that is also a free action. There's no range on this, it doesn't look like. We're going to discard that one. And then finally, the last thing we are going to do, let's play Hammer and Tongs. It says Roland rears back to swing his hammer, and with a flash of fire, he is next to the enemy, striking in a resounding blow. I'm going to do 3 damage and gain the priority token for the character I hit, but I do get to give the character I hit a stunned condition. And it says before attacking, you may move into the same space as your target. That's going to be our actual attack. So we're going to have to see if we can boost it with any of our friends' helps. Asha will give +1 damage because the green does match there, meaning we've done 4 damage. And then, sorry, that was not Asha, that was Raz. Asha is going to allow him to gain or draw or discard a card. Now, he only has 1 action left in his hand, but he has some pretty good cards when it comes to support, so I actually want to draw a card, hopefully get another action. Oh no, that's absolutely terrible. He has now got the exhausted condition. Oh, boo-boo on me. Before the attack, you're allowed to perform a move, or you can perform a move after the attack. The reason I showed everything over there is just for filming purposes, but I should move over here first. Then I'm going to be able to play all those action cards. We're going to be putting weak on something. We're also going to be able to stun something with some damage, and we also have our Leech Charm out there as well. Now, of course, our Hammer and Tongues did say before the attacking, you may move into the same space as my target, so I am going to move over to that space right there and do my 3 damage. 4 because I have Raz helping me. We'll knock this one's health down to 14. And on top of that, I get to put a stun condition on something. We're going to cover up that 6 damage. That sounds terrible. And then with our charm that we have, I'm going to put out, or not charm, sorry, the comb. I'm going to put out weak conditions on these 2 particular abilities for the other stag. Wow, that was a fun turn. The only thing left I have to do is pass the token of the one-horned stag over to Roland here, because he was the attack person that he is going to attack based on this symbol right there. He has that black kind of cloud around his number there. We're going to shake up our bag of destiny and draw out another trip. Oh, we got a number 1. Number 1 is going to activate Patchy. Patchy does have the weak condition, so when this ability triggers, discard this card for of the enemy attacks, dealing 1 less damage each. So it's only going to do 4 damage. So we'll see, it is going to, let's see, Patchy can move up to 2 spaces before making the attack. And it says, lowering its head, the stag charges forward, his antlers vibrating with energy, and he's going to attack. It says he can move 2 spaces, and Naz still has the token for this particular enemy. 1, 2 over to there, and it's going to do 5 damage, and it's going to cause the hurt condition to my hero here. And this says, while any hurt cards are in your hand, at the start of your turn, suffer 1 damage, ignoring defense per hurt in your hand. If you did not gain a hurt card this turn, discard 1 at the end of your turn. When you discard a hurt card, return it to the pile unused, and that is the deal. So that means Naz is going to gain that card to her hand. Now, I'm not going to sleeve this card because it's not actually going to shuffle into my deck. When this character activates, I would then take that damage. Taking 4 damage, I am going to first remove 2 damage because of my armor, and then remove one of my armor cards. Then I am going to add 1 armor from our friend Roland. I do have a 2 armor card in Roz's deck, meaning he would take no damage, but Holland has a lot of cards that I'd like to kind of start using, and Roz has a 2 damage that I'm going to negate from hopefully somebody else getting hit pretty badly. So we're going to go from 15 down to 14 because I do have 3 armor for this 4 damage attack. Remember, it's only 4 because we were able to weaken that attack. Before we draw our next chip, there is one more thing I need to do, and because of Roland's special ward action he has in play, whenever an enemy discards a status, they have to take 1 damage, so this enemy is going to go down to 15 damage, and we'll draw our next chip and see what we get from our Bag of Destiny. Hopefully one of our characters gets to go. That'd be awesome. Asha gets to go. For Asha's turn, she's going to first move 1 space into there. Then she's going to play right in the soft bits. So it's going to do 2 damage, and it's going to refocus to me. And it says, after attacking, place 2 weak cards on up to 3 of your target's active abilities. And my 2 friends are going to help out. The first one I'm going to get from Naz. He's going to boost another Seeker's attack by 1. So now I'm doing 3 damage to the target. And the next one I am going to use is this one. Give another Seeker the ability to draw or discard a card. Now I know this is a blue card, but remember Roland has a special ability that states that he can boost cards do not have to match the color of the action card that they are being played on. That's kind of his special ability, which is pretty sweet. So we're going to do 3 damage, put down 2 hurt cards, and be able to draw a card. We'll drop One Horn down to 11 health with the 3 damage we have done. I'll place out a couple weak cards. I'm going to put 2 on that one because this one's already stunned. I believe you can do that. And after that, up to 3 of your target's abilities. So yeah, I can believe I can put multiples on the same place. I could be wrong about that. If I am, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll make sure to put a note in the video. Also, whenever you're watching this, if there's any things that I have done wrong post-launch, you'll find a pinned comment in the video where you can learn from some of my mistakes that I made during the playthrough. I do have this ability still to move, but I think I'm going to stay where I am because Asha does have a cool ability that states that attacks made by other Seekers deal 1 extra damage when I'm in a space with Asha when they make the attack. So we're going to be staying right there. We're going to get ready and draw our next chip from the Bag of Destiny and see who's going to attack next. It is going to be number 12. 12 is actually the most horrible thing that can happen. I'm discarding all of the statuses from each Great Stag, and I'm also going to heal each Great Stag by 1 health. So this stag is going to go up to 12. The other one is going to go back to 16. So it's like I've done almost nothing to these guys. It states here, throwing its head back, the stag moans as if in pain, emitting a range magical energy. So I'm going to be losing all of these statuses. That was terrible. We'll put those back up there, and that's the end of their turn. We'll continue on by drawing our next chip and see who's going to activate next. We're going to be activating Asha again. Take all my statuses off, I'll give them all right back. I'm going to do 1 damage with Blinding Flash, and then I'm going to be able to place stun on up to 3 of my target abilities. So I'm going to put stun on all these guys. No more, I'm going for you, Mr. One Horn guy. He's going to go down to 11 health now again, so he's back to 11. And like I said, these dials aren't the greatest. I apologize. I wish I could be using dice or something to also be able to figure out the best strategy for these, but I like to show the game components that come with the game so you see everything you're getting. I'm doing only 1 damage. I don't think anybody has any ability to help me out because it is a green card. I do have one with Roland I could use, or don't actually, I don't have anything, but he could use any color on that, but he doesn't have any extra helping cards now. We've done that 1 damage, we've got them all stunned. Let's draw our next chip and see what we get. We've gotten ourselves a heart chip, so that means anybody can go. Remember, whenever you draw a heart chip or a darkness chip, you place it on the time track, and when that time track is filled with 4 chips, you're going to take those tokens and these chips all from the spent chips pile and put them back into there. And remember, we do have our fate tokens that we could use. We can use one of those to draw 4 out of the box, or out of the bag, I'm sorry, choose 1, and then activate that token. But remember, that will go into the void box here. Now, of course, I don't know exactly what's going to happen when things go into the void box, but we're going to try to keep them out for now. We're doing just fine. If things get dire, that'd be a way to maybe hopefully turn the tide of the battle. One thing I forgot to do is after I played the right soft bits part, I should have moved that token to Asha. Asha now has the priority of that particular monster. We'll activate Naz. Naz does have to take a hurt because we're activating Naz. It says, while this card is in your hand, at the start of your turn, I'm going to suffer 1 health. Now, I haven't gained any this turn, so I am going to discard that hurt card, but I am going to go down to 13 health on my character here. At this point, I am going to use Fist of the Wind, which is going to do 2 damage either melee or ranged, and it says here, after attacking, you may move your target 1 space. Now, before we play that, though, I'm going to be halfway smart, and I'm going to put out our, ward action here. And it says, while in play, when Naz moves, she can move the enemy with her basically with her and do one of those weak cards to it. So I'm going to put that up there. That's going to be the first thing I do. It's a free action. Now I'm going to move, and then I'm going to do this. We'll move Naz. Naz will then take this creature with it, giving a weak ability to it. I'll show you where we're placing that in just a moment. I am going to make my attack of 2 damage now, and it is a melee attack or a range attack. I'm going to use melee, and then I can give it the trapped card, the trapped condition. This condition allows me to basically discard this card when the enemy cannot move this turn. So that's fantastic. We're going to also be putting that down on our character as well, and I'll show you where that goes in just a second. And we're going to do our 2 damage with Step of the Wind, and maybe I might get some help from my friends. I am going to get help from our friend over there, Asha. Asha is going to do 1 extra damage, so we're doing 3 damage, bringing this to 13. At this point now, I get to place out my weak and then trapped condition out on this character here. Now, if I put the trapped here, it doesn't get to move, but it would still activate that ability, which is a range attack, so it's not that big a deal. I'm going to get rid of this one. I'm going to trap that one. Now, interestingly enough, we already have the 1 and 2 up here in our spent chip pile, so this first ability isn't really going to activate. So I'm going to put the weak attack ability right there on that one. Now, once this is done, I can now move your target 1 space. And since this character is already focused on Naz, we're going to move it away. I'm going to move Patchy over into the mushrooms. That is everything. We're going to reach into our chips of destiny here, or our bag of destiny, and see who is next. We got the darkness condition. I am going to have Roland play this. It is the ability to return the chip to the bag and draw again. We're going to do that. I do not want to deal with this chip. Even though it's on a stun condition, that means that there's a better chance of that thing coming around again because it's not stunned. We're going to draw this instead. This is Naz's token. Naz is going to go again. Naz is going to use Knockout, which is going to do 3 damage and cause the monster to want to attack her. And it's going to put a stunned condition out. We're going to move 1 into this space, do my 3 damage, and on top of that, I am going to play this one as well. That allows me to draw or discard a card. That is coming from Asha. I lied. I'm not going to move over there. I'm actually going to move here. I want to actually concentrate on Patchy. One Horn is all stunned up, so we don't need to worry about that one. So instead, I am going to put a stunned condition here on Patchy right up there on the top, even though we have 1 and 2. 1 and 2 has already been done. Maybe I'll put it down here on the trap because I can get rid of that. I can stun it first and then have to deal with it. Or I could deal with, we're going to stun that. We're going to stun that one right there. I like that. We are going to do our 3 damage. 1, 2, 3, going down to 10 health. We're going to also be the priority of this character, but we already are. And we are going to play that 1 card that allows us to draw a card. So we're going to draw the top card. Now, if I chose not to draw a card, I would have had to discard all my cards because I would be going into and be able to power up my lantern card. And this one still might make me draw all my cards because I don't have an action right now. Whenever you don't have an action, you do have to redraw your hand to 7. And I did get an action. It is Shattering Blow. So we do have another action we can do before we are going to have to discard our cards. And I've got some pretty good cards when it comes to being able to help my friends. Interestingly enough, I did everything I could to trap this character over here, and I still ran over there and hit it. But that's the way you got to kind of adjust the way you fight in this game, because you never know who's going to go next, which is kind of cool. We're going to have number 3 activated. Number 3 does have a stun on it, so we're going to discard the stun. It does say on here, discard this card. The enemy cannot use the action this turn, so we're going to do that. We're then going to reach into our bag of destiny yet again and draw another token and see who goes next. We're going to have Asha go next. Asha is going to move 1 space over there and use my daggers. And it says here, after playing or discarding this card during battle, you may put this on top of my deck. I am going to put this on top of my deck, and I'm going to do 2 damage. The only thing that can help me out is Naz has a card that allows me to draw a card. So we're going to draw a card from Asha and see what we got. We've got our daggers left. I don't know why I even thought it was going to have it. Now, interestingly enough, I wonder if I'm supposed to activate this before I actually discard this card. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to transpire. But we're going to do it in that order. I'm going to go ahead and keep my 2 damage card. I'm going to do 2 damage to Patchy. Patchy is going to go down to 8 health here. And that's going to be it for Patchy. And now that I think about it, I don't think I'm going to use this card if I do have to draw my daggers off the top, because I'm going to be able to instead draw it anyway, and I get to refill my hand. What I mean by that is Asha only has cards that are not action cards. So I have to discard her hand, grab 7 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And on top of that, I get to turn over my lantern card. Now, of course, like I said, we know we're going to get that dagger. And we're going to hopefully have some other cards. Oh, no, we got our exhausted card. And we got a couple other actions as well. That dagger does not activate the ability to make this person come after me. So I'm not having another token on me. I just have that one. Let's dig into our bag of destiny yet again and see what happens. Oh, one thing I have been forgetting to do is I forgot about my leech charm. I wonder how many of those I took off. I know I took a stunned off of Patchy, so I'm gonna make this creature take 1 point of damage. I'm not sure if I took anything else off. I don't think I have, but I forgot to do that because of our leech charm we have. Wow, Nas is gonna go. Nas is gonna rock this guy. Nas has shattering blow. Nas is gonna do 4 points of damage. Nas is gonna be amazing. You cannot move before or after his attack. After attacking, place hurt on up to 3 of your target active abilities. Oh my gosh, that's gonna be 4 damage to Patchy. Patchy's gonna go to 3 health. We're so close to killing this creature. I don't think I get any boost cards. Oh, I got a whole new set of cards from my friend over here, Asha. And let's see if Asha can give me any damage to go along with it. Sadly, she does not have any damage that's going to help. The only one she has is a green card. So that green card is not going to give us the ability to do it. Now, sadly, if Roland had some, he could play any color. But we've done 3 damage, down to 3 damage. And on top of that, poor Patchy is going to take hurt. I'm going to give hurt on every single one of these. Now, I cannot move this turn because of the ability that I played. And that's going to be the end of that turn. Let's draw our next chip from the bag of destiny. And we have gotten a heart chip. So now we can choose anybody we want. And I think we're going to use Roland. But before we do, Nas has no action cards left. I do have to discard those and grab 7 new ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On top of that, I have to discard all of my any of my shield cards I have and gain back the amount of shields that I normally have. So she's going to gain back 1 of her shields. And I have to make sure I have an action card in here. I do have a few of those, so we are all set to go. I have my lantern card ready to go. It's super hard to pass this opportunity up. We're going to use Eclipse, and we're going to go after One Horn. I could easily take out Patchy if I want to, but I think Patchy is probably going to take herself out with how many status ailments that the poor creature has. This is going to do 6 damage. It's a melee attack, and it says here, after attacking, you may refocus each enemy focused on Asha to another seeker of your choice. So we're going to play that, do 6 damage, and then we're going to flip the card over because I have to recharge it by redrawing a new hand. So we'll move 1 space over, and at this point I will do my 6 damage. Sadly, none of my friends can help me out, so we're going to take this dial down to 5 health points. Those lantern hits are absolutely out of control, amazing. So we're going to be at 5 hit points, and we're going to have both of them really close to death. It also gives me the ability to refocus a token. I'm going to refocus this over to Naz, and I think we'll be fine. Our chip total is getting a little low in our bag. We'll grab our next chip from the bag of destiny, and that is going to be number 7. 7 is right here. That is going to stun the creature. I'm going to remove stun, and this time I've probably forgotten this so many times I don't even know. I'm going to do a damage point to this monster because I am removing a status from it, and I'll put this in the spent chips. We'll draw our next chip and see what we get here. Mix them up just like that, draw it out, and we have gotten, oh, this is Ronald. The only card Ronald has is Meteor Throw. It's going to do 3 damage, and it says after attacking you may move the target 1 space. I'm sorry to say there's not going to be any moving of the target because I am going to move 1 space up here, and I'm going to shoot Patchy. Patchy's going to take the 3 damage, and it's going to kill Patchy. Now I am out of action, so I'm going to have to shuffle my deck, and I'm going to have to take 1 damage because I have the exhausted card in my deck. Or I should say it was in my hand at the time. So we're going to drop our damage down to 8. And we'll draw up 7 new cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we'll flip over our giant lantern power right there. We've got actions. We've got more exhausted cards. We are amazing. I think we're coming to the end of our poor animals here. I don't think they're going to last much longer. Number 5 is going to take effect. Sadly, this is one of Patchy's tokens. It's just going to get discarded. Patchy is no longer alive, so that's not going to happen. Let's draw our next chip and see what we found. We have found Nas. Nas is going to attack. and Nas is going to rush, moving one space here, and then this down here says before attacking you may move into the same space as your target. So you're going to move into this space, do 2 points of damage, bringing this poor creature down to 2, and I don't think I have any help from any of my friends. Oh, I do! I've got this in Asha's cards, and that is a green card, so I can play the green boost. That gives me an extra 2, so we have taken out the one horn as well. That fight was super cool. We were definitely had it in our favor, especially pulling those 4 tokens right away out of this bag because of our choices in the story really increased our chances of winning that. Overall, it would have been a more even distribution if those 4 tokens wouldn't have been in here, so we would have had to dealt with those 4 attacks technically if I hadn't already pulled them out. So that was super cool. With the victory, we are told to go to 2-11, and let's see what it says.
You pile the bodies of the stags to burn. Black blood oozes from their wounds along with a sharp scent. You look out at the dark trees of the nearby woods. What could have caused these deer to go into such a frenzy? When the caravan catches up, the leader nods to you. He grimaces and looks away from the burning carcasses, passing you a handful of coins as hazard pay.
We're going to gain 6 coins, and then we're going to move on to 2.12. That gives us a total of 12 coins to be able to do something with. Let's flip over our next card and see what it says.
When you arrive in Vinna, the caravan leader shakes your hands in thanks.
Over there's the inn. You can find the mayor, Dara, there. And if you need us, we'll be camped by the lighthouse site.
Inside the inn, you find an orcish woman leaning against a counter with a dwarf who appears to be agitated. The orc turns and smiles.
You must be the seeker sent to escort the supply caravan. I'm Dara. Did everyone make it into town okay?
You nod, and she turns to the dwarf.
There you go, Hoyt. Say your piece and make it quick. This lot looks like they could use a rest.
He hesitates.
If you please, meet me at the Burnt Alchemist's lab later. I could use your help.
After that's done, we're going to go to 2.13. Let's flip over our next card. I do like the way the story progresses through these cards. It's really cool.
Once the dwarf takes his leave, you tell Dara about the sabotaged bridge.
Well, that's certainly not the first bit of trouble we've had. I'll send some carpenters out to get a proper repair done before the Hierophant arrives. In the meantime, your room and board here at the inn is free. It's the least I can do. Let me know if you need anything. And feel free to explore the town a little. It's quite charming out here, away from the city.
So now we have a choice here. If you ask about Vina's lighthouse, then you go to 2.14. If you ask about the Hierophant Selene, you go to 2.15. If you go explore the town, I can go to 2.16. Here are the 3 choices. We can either talk about the lighthouse, we can learn about the Hierophant, or we can just go explore the town. I think exploring the town is probably going to end things, is my guess. Let's check out one of these 2. Let's look at the lighthouse first and see what it says. Here it is.
Why is Vinna constructing a lighthouse all of a sudden?
Dara sits quietly worrying at one of her tusks before answering.
Why is Vinna constructing a lighthouse all of a sudden? The light from Din Lux no longer reaches us. I don't want to spread panic, but it's as if the Kinfire is diminishing. The farms here are vital to the city, so I sent a letter asking for aid. Hierophant Selene herself agreed to come bless us with Kinfire as long as we built the lighthouse ourselves.
At that point, we're going to go back to 2.13. I believe 2.13, yeah, 2.13 is the card that allows us to pick the thing. So we're just going to keep on going, I guess. We're going to 2.15, let's see what it says. Let's see, we're going to go back to 2.13 when we're all done here, but let's see what this card says.
Why is the Hierophant leaving the safety of Din Lux to come to Vinna herself?
I was surprised by that as well.
Dara says,
I appealed to the temple for aid and heard back that Hierophant Selene herself was coming to bless a new lighthouse with Kinfire for us.
She hesitates before continuing.
The temple guards the secrets of Kinfire closely. Maybe only one as knowledgeable as the Hierophant could help. Regardless, I'm grateful she's coming.
And finally, it's going to go with 213, which is going to tell us to pick just this one. And let's see what this says. Oh, it's going to be a big card.
Enjoy our little town. When you're tired and hungry, come back here to the inn. Once you've rested, I've got something I could use your help with. And don't forget to meet with Hoyt if you have the chance.
At this point, we're going to open the Atlas to map 3 and open the Vienna pack in your loot box. You have 3 city actions, only 3 really, to explore the town with before you need to get on with your next mission. Set the town exploration notebook found in quest 3. However, your third city action must be to go to location 1 and sleep at the inn. Remember, if we sleep, that does help get rid of those exhaustion cards as well. Take prompt Q-3. This quest is over. From now on, when it is time for you to go on a quest, I can choose from what you have available to you. Keep in mind that you will never be offered a quest that is too difficult for you to complete. Oh, that's absolutely awesome. So I've done an absolutely fantastic job of giving us an ability to kind of choose what we want to do next, to explore the world and see what is going to unfold with our characters, but never be too powerful. So that's awesome. All right. Here's the map of our town, and we have our town deck. This deck is that big. It has a double-sided things protecting you from seeing what is in this deck. What we're going to do is place out our character here. We're just going to use one of our standees, and at this point, I get to choose where I want to go. I get 3 actions, so I get to go to 3 different places and deal with what is there. There could be nothing. There could be a complete story thing that could go on along this thing. We could maybe get some quests. Who knows? We'll see how it all plays out. But we do know at the end we do have to go to the Mill Inn. That is the final place you have to go. So technically we only have 2 actions. Our third one has to be that inn. So I think the first thing we're going to do is I want to go to the shop. Let's go shopping. There's a place called Moriella's Wares. So that is number 2 in our deck. We are going to go to V2 and see what it says. And of course, I'm going to have the almighty Forteller read this to you.
The shopkeeper, a tall, thin elf, greets you cheerfully as you enter.
I've heard tell of the Seekers, but I've never met any before.
She watches you intensely as you browse the shelves stocked with fencing, chicken feed, and sacks of rodent repellent.
I cater mostly to the farmers around here, but my husband, Jed, is a blacksmith. He might have some items that interest you.
Morella leads you to the forge out back, where you find a human man with white hair and ropey muscles. She signs to him in a few quick gestures, and he nods to you before uncovering a table to show you his wares.
At this point, I may visit the shop of Morella's Goods, and I get to add it from the Vienna market if you haven't already. And we're going to look at shopping in the town exploration rulebook for further information on your city. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this card right here, Morella's Goods, we're going to flip it over, and right here it says, Jed's work isn't fancy, but it's reliable. I promise you will never find better weapons to serve you. So at this point, I could buy these for 3 coins each. Remember, we have 12 coins. So for 9, I can get all 3 of those items. I don't see why I don't. And it says, once purchased, see the card or cards and any boosts to the Seeker's unused card pool or swap them into the Seeker's deck using the normal deck building rules. Here are the 3 things we're able to buy, leaving us with 3 money. That's fantastic. 3 gold. That's totally fine. I'm going to spend 369 on all of these. These are, I have a blue, green, and red item here. The cool thing about this game is you can kit your character out however you want. I don't have to technically give this sword to Naz. I could give this sword to Roland if I really wanted to. There's no requirements unless, of course, it has a symbol of your character. That means that can only be for that particular character when you're buying or learning those type of abilities. The other thing you have to be aware of is down here there are Kinfire requirements. So in order to place these into a person's deck, they have to have at least 1 Kinfire available to be able to swap in this card. There could even be up to 2 or 3 of those symbols, maybe even more, which means it'd be a more powerful, I'm guessing, item or ability, and it also would be harder for you to keep that many in your deck. Now, of course, the only people that have Kinfire right now is Naz and Raz. Those are the only two that do. So even though I bought all three of those, I can't use all of them right now, but I think that will be okay. On top of that, they each come with a boost card. The heavy staff comes with this one where I'm able to give a card. The loyal arrow comes with this where I can give damage. And the defending blade, of course, being defensive, is going to give us an ability to add some defense to our friends. So I think putting some of these into our heroes would be a great idea. This one, of course, after I attack is going to give me a shield. This one is after attacking, you may discard any other cards to return this card to my hand. That's not bad because it does 3 damage. It's out of control. And this one is just going to be able to attack and stun. I know, attack and stun for 3 damage seems pretty darn good to me just on its own. It doesn't need a special power. Having this one giving us an extra defense, I'm going to give this to Naz, which means Naz is also going to take that into her deck. And I'm going to give the loyal arrow to Asha. I think that'll be fantastic. And when I am able to, this one will go to our other friend over here, Roland. Now, another thing I want to talk about is the color requirements for these. So now when I swap in this for Raza, I'm going to have to take out a green card because this will have to replace that. You have to have the right amount of each color based on that strip that you saw on the character portrait card. And what I mean by that is if you look at Raza here, right now she has 4 different green cards. Here are my 4 green actions that I have in my character right now. And as you can see, I have 4 of those. I have 3 blue ones. That's these actions right here. And then we have 3 red ones, and that's these actions right here. Now, of course, this blue and green one is actually being counted as a blue in the base set of cards I have, and this blue-red one is counted as a red card. So as I go forward, if I change this into a green, I could change this to, let's say, a green-red card or something. Somewhere down the line, I could change out something so that I could call that a red card and put in another green card and have me take out a red card. So, you know what I mean? So basically, it's really kind of cool how this system works because you can really customize your character based on their actions and the type of equipment they get. So for Naz, we are going to swap in our defending blade, and we're going to be removing Fist of the Wind. We're going to see how that goes for us. Of course, I can always change this by going to an inn and resting and re-swapping out your cards. But whenever you buy a card at the market, at the time that you buy it, you can either add it to your supply of unused cards or immediately swap it into your Seeker's deck using the rules listed under Sleeping at the Inn. And that, of course, is going to teach you all the things you need to know about being able to customize your deck. There are a few things you need to know. One is you can only ever have the cards for your Seeker in your deck. For example, our Fist of the Wind, I can't then give this to somebody else to learn. Also, coming towards deck size, you always have to have 18 cards, and 9 of them have to be actions, and 9 have to be the linked boost cards that go with those actions. Also, like I said, you have to abide by your color requirements, the Kinfire requirements, and you cannot have more than 3 instant cards in your deck. For example, I have decided to switch out Blinding Flash for my loyal one, and it says down here after attack, oh nope, that's not it, I'm sorry. She's got an instant here, Scorpion Strike. It says instant down here. That was another one I was thinking about swapping out. What you can do is you can only have up to 3 of those action cards with instants on them in that particular thing. So, which are going to be those super fast attacks that you can do, like I said, with Scorpion Strike. And you can only have 3 of these that have instants, or you can even denote it by this little symbol down here of the Lightning Bolt. Now, this one that we bought, we are going to put in our unused card pool, and at this point we can swap that out later when we get Kinfire. Also, since Blinding Flash is not particularly built only for Asha, I could rest at an inn and give this to another character. I could have Roz learn Blinding Flash if I wanted to, from how I understand it. Having bought our items, that was awesome. We are going to move to a new location. We can either go to the Kinfire Shrine, the Lighthouse, the Tea Wagon, the Lonely Lantern Tavern, or of course we're going to end at the inn. Now remember, during our little jaunt towards this place, they talked about going to the Burnt Alchemist Lab. I think that's one place I want to go, so we're going to go up to V3 Burnt Alchemist Lab.
Approaching the burnout husk of the alchemy lab, you see the dwarven scholar you met earlier pacing back and forth with nervous energy. He gives you his name, White Belger,
so much,
and thanks you repeatedly.
Thank you enough. I would say fate delivered you to me if I believed in such things. You see, I'm in need of skills such as yours. I would like you to investigate the crimes committed here. Arson, murder, theft. This is, or was, my friend Mika's workshop. He perished along with it. If you can make time for such a thing, come talk to me, and I'll share what I've learned so far.
At this point, I'm going to game prompt Q16, and we're going to remove this card from the Vienna. Your city action is now over. So we are now going to gain Q16. We have received a quest called Ash and Bramble. Hoyt Belgar, a dwarven scholar in Vienna, has asked for your help. A friend and colleague of his was recently robbed and murdered. Perhaps you could track down whoever did this. When you embark on this quest, I'll be opening quest box 16. Also, when we finish quest 2, we were supposed to gain this card. I forgot to talk about this. This is our other quest called Into the Shadows. Dara, the mayor of Vienna, has requested your help on something once you've explored the town and rested up a little bit. When I embark on this quest, I can open up quest 3. So at this point now, we're going to go to the inn, but then I believe after we go to the inn, it's probably going to tell us that, like it said in the book or the cards, we're now going to have to choose a quest to go on. We're not going to just be pointed in a direction. Since we're moving into our third and final action, we will be going to the inn.
Stepping into the inn, you are met with the smell of fresh baked bread and can hear the gentle squeak of the water wheel turning out back. Dara, the mayor of Vienna and owner of the inn, appears, wiping her hands on a towel.
Looking for a hot meal and a room for the night? Your room and board are free here as long as you're in town.
If you stay the night, we're going to see sleeping at the inns, and that really is just going to go over deck creation and the ability to remove all of our statuses that we have with us. Mainly, of course, all of those exhausted cards. I get to discard those from all of my decks. And it now says that I am going to either stay here as my last city action, or I'm going to return to the map and choose again. And since that is our last action, we are going to have to choose which quest to go on. I could either do the Into the Shadows, or we could do Ash and Bramble. I think it'd be kind of cool to see if what they say is right, that they're not going to put me on anything I can't deal with at my level and my strength of my characters. I'm going to go for quest 16. Let's see how hard quest 16 can be. That's going to be what we're going to do. But we're going to tackle that quest, of course, in the next video, because we did a quest already and we've done the town phase. The town phase is pretty cool. I like how fast it goes. But, of course, we still have this whole deck to go through that we didn't even scratch the surface of. I wonder what we're in these other places. Hopefully, we can come back to here after we do our quest. I don't see why we wouldn't, because, of course, we do have quest 3. But maybe quest 3 has nothing to do with this. I don't even know. It'll be absolutely awesome. I hope you're enjoying the playthrough. If you are, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell symbol so you know when more Kinfire comes out. Also, please feel free to leave anything in the comments below. I would love to hear from everyone. If you're excited about this game, that's fantastic. I am having a blast. I can't get enough of Kinfire. This is a really, really fun, simple, quick mechanics that are really fun to play. And it's super easy to get through each one of these missions really quick and continue that story. Also, if you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon. The link to that is in the description of this video as well. Those that are part of the Patreon are located here on the screen. Thank you so much for your patronage. It means the world to me. For those that are part of the Patreon, you get specific bonuses and I guess, I don't know, perks, whatever you want to call them. Some of them are, one of them is you get to watch my playthroughs, usually about a day or two before they go live without commercial interruptions. On top of that, as this game progresses, I'm going to make sure to give people the ability to tell me what cards we think we should be putting into our decks and which ones we should not be putting in our decks and stuff like that. It gives the Patreons the ability to help create our characters and continue to have a say in how the story develops. Also, they get a chance to name some of the characters and decide what games we play, usually in some of the polls that I do. At the time of this recording, I am getting ready for my Kingdom Death Gambler's Chest playthrough, and I've been asking for some great ideas for how to name our settlement, and of course all the survivors that are going to be in it, and my Patreons are in charge of that. Of course, if you don't want to be a Patreon, that's totally cool. I'm just excited to have you here, and I'd love to hear about anything you have to say in the comments. That is a fantastic place to talk and learn about each other. So there you have it. That is Kinfire Chronicles. We're going to continue this, and if you're excited to do that, then I need you to meet me at the table.